Hello my family. I'm not quite sure what is happening with YouTube right now. I do have a video here before this one and I'm waiting for it to upload. There seems to be some huge delay in getting my videos out, but I'm going to keep going as normal. So we are getting very close to winter, and at this point, this is when I start concentrating on the shelves. I start concentrating on the freezer. And I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to shop during the winter, because that's just virtually impossible. I don't live on a big major farm, so to be honest, we will have to shop in between. But the least we shop, the better off we are. So the initial part of it, we will do a shopping haul, break things down, fill up our freezers, and we'll live off that for as long as we can. And part of cleaning out, which that's exactly what I had to do to get ready for this, I had to go through things. We did some processing of our old chickens that we had. They were about 5 years old. And honestly, y'all, for any of you homesteaders who are honestly growing and trying to be self-sufficient, don't let your hens get that old if you plan on processing, because they are super, super tough. These are good at this point, though, still for broth. I can cook the meat down to tenderize it after a long period of time. This is what I will do, and then I'm going to freeze the meat, and I'm going to be canning the broth. So we've got an entire roasting pan full of chicken. I am going to get this on the shelf because I am finding we're going through quite a bit of chicken broth. So the good stock that I had, honestly, is, well, it's down. So this is a great time while I'm cleaning out the freezer, go ahead and get this done. I also had some of my vegetables while we were going through some ends of celery, which I will have more, and I've got another thing I'm going to show you. Today is prepping day, if you haven't figured out. This video is about preparing yourselves for self-sufficient during sales even. So when I get my onions and I keep the ends and the celery ends and all, I just freeze them, and then I'm going to add that to my broth. So I'm going to get the broth started, and then I'm going to show you what is next, honestly. So I told you we had a big major freeze, and I had all my pepper plants and everything. I wound up pulling them all, y'all. But there was still some little peppers left on them that were in good shape. So they might not be fully mature, but they're still useful. So these are a bunch of poblanos and jalapenos. I am going to actually chop these up, and I'm going to freeze them. So that'll be the next thing. After I get you set up, I will show you the major sale that Walmart has right now and what I plan on doing with this sale. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stock ready and get it started, because this is going to take at least 24 hours or more, and we will be right back. Okay, my family, so we have the broth ready, and I'm going to be adding more as I go along to that. I actually need some more onion to this and some more celery. Celery is the one I'm going to talk to you about. Right now, Walmart has celery for 89 cents or 98 cents, something like it's 98 cents. So I'm going to tell you all, that is probably the lowest you're going to find celery at this moment. What can you do? Let me give you a few ideas what I ended up doing. I went and got 4 bundles of celery. Why on earth would I do something like that? Because celery really doesn't last long in your refrigerator. However, I did find a way where it will last longer. Heavy duty aluminum foil, some paper towels, which I'm fixing to do with one of these because I'm actually going back this weekend to get some more of it. And I will explain what I'm doing, because it seems really crazy right now buying all this celery. But I am going to stock it for the winter, and I'm going to explain how. The first batch I'm going to do is the paper towels. I'm going to take my heavy duty aluminum foil, lay my paper towels down. I will probably show you that process. Cut them, clean them, dry them, roll them up and stick them in my refrigerator. I have found that my celery will last in the refrigerator almost a month. So that's a good option. Another option I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking and pre-slicing and freezing. The reason for the freezing will be for soups, stews, sautés, things like this. I can have my celery, my dressings for the holidays. I don't have to worry about running out and getting celery when they're sky high later on. I'm taking advantage of all the sales that are going on right now. Another option to do, and I'm going to show you a couple things on that one. Hang on. Okay, so the next option and why I'm getting so much celery is you can dehydrate it. A couple things you can do with this. Now, you can leave them just like this, throw them into your soups or anything with a good amount of liquid. These will rehydrate, especially over time as you let them simmer throughout the day in your crock pot or on your stove. Another option you can do is turn and ground them up into a powder. Now, you can add this powder to your salads or anything you want to just add celery flavor, stuffing, sautés, into maybe some a chicken recipe or anything like that, anything that you can find using celery. Another thing you can make is celery powder or celery salt. Taking that powder, adding some sea salt, and you have your own celery salt, a whole lot cheaper, for 98 cents. You have celery salt and a big amount of it. So these are what we are going to do today. I'm going to show you how to prepare them in aluminum foil for your refrigerator. I'm going to show you how to chop them and use them for your freezer, and then I will show you how to do some of these for your dehydrator. So let me get situated here and we will begin. Okay, so the first one we are going to do, we're actually going to put these in the refrigerator. So initially I'm going to automatically cut off this end. Now these are going to be washed from here. This one I'm going to wash. I'm going to cut off this bottom edge and I'm going to throw them in my broth. I'm also going to come over here and start taking some of the tops. Again, this is going to go into my broth after I wash them off. Even the leaves. Now you can actually dehydrate these leaves as well. I'm going to leave the leaves on these basically because I like cooking with them also. There's nothing wrong. A lot of people throw them out, but there's actually a lot of flavor within those leaves. So I'm actually going to keep them for my cooking. And in some of my dishes, I will add that. They're great in sautés as well. So now I'm going to take this. I'm going to cut the very edges off, and this is going to go in my compost. The rest will be washed. That's my compost. And this gets washed and will be thrown into my broth, my chicken broth. That's going to be canned more than likely tomorrow or Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done, come back, and I will show you how to wrap this and put it in your refrigerator to last a good long time. Okay, so now these have been washed, and you want to come in here and make sure they're fairly dry. You don't really want a whole lot of moisture as you store these up. So I'm just using a clean towel and I'm drying off my celery sticks. They're not going to be perfectly dry, but a good amount of that moisture is going to be off of it. Just going through here, drying these off. And again, these are the ones that are going in my refrigerator. This will be used as we go along. And I will more than likely be doing one more round while this celery is on sale. I'm going to do another round of celery. That way I know I will have enough for this winter. I didn't know about freezing and dehydrating and all that with this celery I started last year. That's when I knew about it. If I'd have known this 5 years ago, I'd have done this already, back when prices were really, really decent. But I live and learn as I go along, so I could have saved me a lot of money. The only thing this will not do is if you like to snack on it for fresh or whatever, you're just going to have to buy it like this and eat it fresh, because it's not going to work out too well if you freeze it and then do that. So, but you can preserve it this way as well for your fresh, and that's one reason why I'm showing you how to do this. I actually had a friend teach me this, and it blew my mind to see how long. Lately it seems like nothing at the grocery store lasts long enough. I was really amazed after I did this how long it really lasted. So I'm probably going to break this down into 2 sections, because that is a big stock in itself, so I don't want to add too much, because I do want to keep it as fresh as I possibly can, as long as I can. So I take a sheet of heavy-duty aluminum foil. I lay my paper towel on top of this, and now I'm going to take a few sticks of my celery, lay it through here, just like so. And again, I'm not going to do the whole thing because I want this to last and I don't want to overcrowd it. So that'll probably be enough on this one. Okay, so now I'm going to take it and I'm just going to roll this paper towel just like so over the top of my bundled celery. Take my ends, fold them down, just like that. Take that end, fold it down. And now I have my celery bundle. This will stay cool in the refrigerator, and the paper towel will help take the moisture and keep that moisture into ruining your celery. It will last a whole lot longer than 1 week. And I have found that this has actually stayed crisp, y'all. It wasn't limp like I have been getting it quite lately before doing this. So again, I'm just going to take my bundle. I'm only going to do this with this one round. Take it like so, fold my ends, and now this is ready for the refrigerator, and this will be our fresh. I'm going to go ahead and set up, and we're going to go ahead and start the freezer sections. Okay, so this one is going to be used for the freezer. Just like the last process, cleaning it up, taking my ends. I save the very ends for my compost. Now this time, because I have enough celery into my broth, I'm actually going to freeze these. So, and it seems like I just cleaned out my freezer. Why would I do this again? Well, toward the end of winter, or in the middle, when I start getting really low in broth, there was the turkey from Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I will save this to go within that broth should we go through it that much. So I'm going to save that aside. I'm also going to, again, we're going to wipe these down. And this time we're going to slice this. This is going to be the ones that we are going to cook. So I'm going to just go ahead, come through here, and slice them up just like so. This is the ones I'll use in soups, stews, sautés, chop suey. There is so many uses for this frozen. I went through quite a bit of it last year when I started learning how to do this. So, and it was fantastic, honestly. And then I am going to portion these off. Last year I did them in gallon size and broke them down. I'm actually going to bring these down a notch and use quart size freezer bags this time. So, and this way it kind of portions it down to specific meals. It probably does take up more room in my freezer to do so, but I'd rather do this than try to break up an entire big bag. So we're just going to go ahead and fill these up. Once I fill this up and get this done on one thing, now it all depends on how much you're going to get per bundle, because I am learning that every bundle doesn't have the same amount. So we'll see how much we get out of this and how much I think throughout the winter, if I'm going to have enough or if I plan on doing just a little bit more. So, and yes, I am also going to add the leaves in this because, again, the leaves will add flavor to my dishes. I'm not afraid to use them, so I will be adding them in this as well. So once I get all of this chopped, I will come back and show you how much we got out of here, and we will move on to the next ones. Okay, y'all, I had to show this to you. So I'm going to show you a neat little device when you're having to do a big amount of slicing, dicing, freezing, and stuff like that. I want to show you what this little handy dandy canning holder, the one you get your jars up out of your canning thing. I'm going to show you a little trick that I learned that was quite amazing. So it actually works, whether it's gallon, quarts, it really works. So these I am using my quart jars. You want to take and fold your edges down, go based by your edging line. Have this rubber part down. Now it can vary on how much it holds, but place your bag in the center of this, in between the two handles. Take your edges on each side of the handle. And sometimes you may have to work with it. And there you have it. It holds open for you. So all you have to do now, is fill. Don't be me and make that much of a mess, but just fill up your bags just like so. It makes it so much easier. And that's it. So I thought I'd go ahead and show you that one. Now I'll clean up my mess because I tend to put too much in my hand, and that was my fault. It's not the bag's fault. So I will be back now, but I had to show that to you because that is kind of cool, y'all, how it just holds it up there, holds it open. I mean, look at that hand space in there. So you can easily turn around and fill these up without having to mess with these bags. I've done that before, and it is a pain. When I saw somebody do this in one of my canning groups, I thought that was ever-loving genius. So I thought I'd pass it down to you too. Okay, so we now have the chopping part. Now I save my old bags from bread and stuff that I make. So to consolidate the space in my freezer, and because these are 1 quart sizes, I took the air out, fold them over, and I'm going to place them inside here in a gallon size bag. They're still individually wrapped, but in a consolidated form. So, and I did get three different meals out of this, and basically it depends on how much. I could still break these down if I don't want to use all of this in a particular meal. So I could probably get maybe 6 even out of this. So I've just consolidated individually in quarts, consolidated all in a gallon, and I took away from the space in my freezer by putting it all in one bag, and now this goes in the freezer. I dated them and wrote down what I have. So that's the freezer section. Now we're going to move on to the dehydrator. Also want to show you, and I believe I already did, if you have old bread that is getting stale. I have one that was in my freezer, and honestly, I saved it because I wanted to dehydrate it anyways. So I took old bread that I actually got from the store, brought it back here, and instead of tossing it, I'm going to take that one and turn it into breadcrumbs as well. Or you can actually turn it into croutons also. I did about 3 loaves last time, and I'll show you what I did on that one. Just give me a minute to get this straightened out. Okay, so the last 3 loaves that I ended up getting from the fresh baked farmhouse loaves, and they were this size right here. This right here. So after a time on fresh loaves, they just don't last very long because they start to dry out. But I don't waste it. Honestly, this turned out amazing. So out of those 3 loaves, I ended up with, this is about a half-gallon jar of little croutons that I can fry up in some olive oil or ghee, get that butter flavor. Use this in my salads every now and then. So I did not waste, and this is amazing. We also have, if I wanted to make a bread dressing, these are pieces that I could turn into a dressing or reserve for later and grind them up to turn them into breadcrumbs. So I have, and these are beautiful breadcrumbs. So, and homemade, I know what's in them. There's no preservatives, and all I did was dehydrate already stale bread. So don't throw your bread away, y'all. Especially if you home bake your own breads, please don't throw them away. Make use for them. And you can do this with store-bought as well, y'all. I'm not going to tell you you can't. But the only difference between what I do and the store-bought is when you dehydrate, those preservatives are going to go in your jar with your bread. So this doesn't have it. That's the only difference. So I thought I'd give you that idea. If your breads are getting old, as long as they're not moldy, don't waste them. Do something with them. It's today's world. I don't want to waste I want to waste less as possible, and this was perfect to do that. So I was already taking some losses, so this turned a loss into a gain for me. So now we're going to go ahead and start our dehydrating celery, and we will be right back for that one. Okay, so just like the freezer ones, I went through, I cleaned them up, I cut my ends, used my compost, saved in my freezer for broth later on, and now I have these sliced up. What I do next, now these will be in different sizes. Just remember, the thicker they are, the longer they will take to dry. But these top ones are a little bit thicker than my bottom, so I don't really have to worry about this too much. They will get quite small, but I'm just going to now spread this on my pan or my grid for the dehydrator. Spread this out as much as possible. That one's a little bit too thick. Hang on just a moment. Yeah. That one, some of these I guess got away from me. So now I'm just, like I said, I'm just placing these here. Now the ones, these at the bottom here are a little bit smaller, so those I'm going to put differently. I currently cannot find my dehydrating mat, so I'm going to use parchment paper for that one. I need to find my mats because I really like them when it comes time to doing this. So I'm just going to actually pour these on here, spread it out where they're not piled on top of each other. And then these will go in the dehydrator at 125 degrees, more than likely like my last batch, overnight, until they are good, dehydrated, crisp, and dry. So go ahead and get these started in the dehydrator, and we will be back. Okay, so I still have a small bundle left, so more than likely I'm going to divide this in half. I'm going to take some of this, put it in the refrigerator for fresh. The rest I'm probably just going to chop up and put it in the freezer. From what I've seen, I definitely will be going and getting another maybe 3 or 4 bundles, doing that, and that should last us all winter long. I actually like this because celery has been running about $2 a bundle, and when I get the sales like this, knowing that I can freeze them, when you think about it, you put them in your dishes, you're cooking them anyway, so they get soft. So it really doesn't matter if I'm freezing them and throwing them into a dish or not. It really doesn't matter if I'm going to dehydrate them and turn them into a powder. I can always add them to a dip or dressing or anything. I can even add them to a bread if I really wanted to. I'm not saying I would, but I mean, these are ideas. So taking advantage of sales, learning how to preserve your sales and having them help you through the winter, this is what my goal is. So I'm hoping I gave you some ideas. Right now I am at the last of my preservations in preparing for the winter. I am very close to finishing off the preparing so that we can get ready for the holidays. After the holidays, y'all, it's total lockdown for this homestead. At that point, we will be doing the pantry challenge and living as much off our stocks as we possibly can, taking it as far as we can. So at that point, I will give you the final tour of our pantry. I will work with you at that point on what we have, how to use it, how we make it, and if we have to go grocery shopping, I'll let you know exactly what we've done. So that will be very full, detailed, what do you call it, videos to show you what you can do for you and your family. How to cut costs, how to save money, how to watch for sales, how to utilize these sales, and how to make it through a winter, even if it's through a long haul. That's my goal. My goal is being frugal, being more self-sufficient, less relying on preserved foods, more into the old-fashioned way of making homemade, utilizing every aspect, even if it's stale bread. So that is my next step right now, honestly, is I'm getting ready to cut this loaf of bread. I will be making some more croutons out of this. I will be making definitely a gallon size, and that's probably what this loaf will end up being. Nothing but croutons and bread cubes for even a dressing, or for later use. If I need breadcrumbs, I could just knock them on down and grind it with a coffee grinder. So I'll be drying these next and preparing for supper, which I think tonight we're going to have chicken shawarma bowl. So that's basically about it right now, y'all. I've got the celery dehydrating, the rest is in the freezer. I've got my chicken stock on that will be lasting throughout the night, getting ready to do supper and doing my bread. So until next time, I'm hoping all of this helps you all in some way, even if it's just a little bit. But as I learn about the sales, like I promised you, I'm coming to you and I'm showing you how I'm utilizing these sales. So first off, I found Walmart celery. Look for it, y'all, and hopefully I gave you some ideas that you can preserve for your family, so when they go back up, you'll end up having something in your freezer and you won't have to worry about it, or even in your pantry. So, love you all dearly. We will see you again really soon. Much love from Parton's Heritage Homestead.